The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the swamp thing from the Black Lagoon, that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
Yeah, so now we're back with our second or third, depending on who you talk to, installment in the Blood Island series.
Boy, do you like everything that the last one has, but more of it?
Yeah.
We got that for you in spades.
Absolutely.
We got the boobs, we got the blood, we got the monsters. I mean, what more could you want? So much boobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just an embarrassment of riches as far as that goes.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not offended, but I'm just. Yeah.
And if the last one, the Frankenstein element was just barely there in that radioactivity is a human creation that caused some problems on the island. Here, obviously, the title tells you we're going to actually get a mad doctor again, so we're getting a little bit more Frankensteininess here. And in the same way that this one only has 3 titles that I'm aware of. So Mad Doctor Blood Island being the primary one, but was it made the drive-in circuit? It was also Grave Desires and Tomb of the Living Dead, which are like ridiculous. Neither of those have anything to do with this, but I'm sure it got a few teenagers to spend their money twice or 3 times on the same movie. So good for you, AIP.
Well, they had to have sex to something, right, back then.
Yeah. So this one, I love this wacky start. I ended up doing some research about it because it's so ridiculous and so fun. Mm-hmm. So we start with this sort of like unrelated little thing where we have a lab-coated arm pouring green liquid from one beaker to another, and again we're in this like hyper-colorized movie. So yeah, this is bright green liquid, and we get this text on the screen that says, "Now, the Mad Doctor of Blood Island invites you to join him in taking the oath of green blood."
Does any of this have to do with anything? No, not a damn thing, hardly.
Yeah, so we'll find out. Like, we had a narrator saying basically that there's a blood potion that it affects people differently when they drink it, but if you drink it at the right time, it can protect you from from the toxic infestation of the green blood.
Sure.
So we have this oath that you can recite, and it's like we get this like a bunch of teens like getting ready to drink, and then they freeze frame. They're all drinking out of like little test tubes, and we get the oath that it's. I, a living, breathing creature of the cosmic entity, am now ready to enter the realm of those chosen to be allowed to drink of the mystic emerald fluids herein offered. I join the order of green blood with an open mind, and through this liquid's powers am now prepared to safely view the unnatural green-blooded ones without fear of contamination.
Sure.
And then the freeze frame stops, the teens all drink the liquid, and now we know that we're safe. And apparently at drive-ins, they were handing out little packets of like green gel that teens could drink at this part. I saw.
Was it basically Jell-O?
Yeah, they said it was like a gel consistency. It wasn't a liquid. And Sam Sherman, the sort of like head of American International Pictures, this was his idea. And he was like, they gave me, like, when they, like, produced the stuff, I tried a sample of it. It made me kind of sick to my stomach, but I was like, it's fine. Just let the teens drink it.
Yeah. That'd be fine.
Yeah. So thought that was really fun. And apparently,
he tried to William Castle it up, did he?
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of Castle. So now we actually get into the actual movie. Like, all of this stuff was shot in America by AIP and has nothing to do with the actual Philippines production.
Nope, not a damn thing of it will be there. Maybe-ish the green blood stuff, but
yeah,
not really.
Right, yeah. So we cut to like a waterfall. We have, as you said, more of everything. So we have just a fully naked woman running through the jungle. And then we see that she is chased by a moss-covered monster that attacks and kills her. And this is our first instance of the gimmick of this movie, which is the special effects are really bad, so to cover them up, anytime the monster's on screen, we just zoom in and to really fast and crazy so that you can't really lock your eyes on what you're seeing, which is incredibly disorienting on like our small screen. I can't even imagine what that was like on a drive-in theater screen. It had to just be
that bizarre shaky cam stuff. It killed me. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm actually a dead person talking right now.
Yeah,
and
like
you had to resurrect me.
I didn't get to. I haven't tried the green liquid, but this made me feel sick to my stomach. It was very overwhelming.
Yeah, no joke. But hey, they're boobs, so we got that going for us. Also, there's a actor named Edward Murphy. Did you see that? I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. So we, of course, because this is how all these movies go, we're back on a boat. We've got a few, white Americans headed in, and so we kind of get a little bit of their backstory about why all they're here. They all, again, seem to know each other, but they're all here for different reasons.
Yes, so we once again have John Ashley, but he's playing Dr. Bill Foster. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have a lady by the name of Angelique Pettyjohn, who's playing Sheila Willard, looking for her father. Yeah. So, have you looked into Angelique Pettyjohn?
No, I think she like done like she's there for boobs, like isn't she kind of like a softcore actress?
Softcore, hardcore. She was a sex worker or SW, I don't know what you want to say, for a while, and surprisingly, she did that. She was stripping in her late 40s. She passed away in 1992 at the age of 48 from cervical cancer. Okay. But like the fact of this lady being both a pornographic actress, just an actress. I mean, I guess she's just an actress in general. Mm-hmm. We could take the pornographic part off of it. But she was very popular with sci-fi fans, which is interesting. Like later in her life, even while she was a stripper, she did like science fiction,
like conventions and
conventions.
Stuff?
Yeah, she's done a lot of those. So, all right, I want to talk about a couple things. First off, in the 1980s, there's this guy named Emilio Estevez. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so he did a lot of like wild movies. He's the brother of Charlie Sheen and son of Martin Sheen. Their actual name is Estevez. Mm-hmm. They're Latino, I think Cuban. But anyway, that doesn't matter. The point is, he was in a lot of movies, Young Guns, Stephen King movie, Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive, yeah.
Yeah. So he was kind of equal to his brother in the 80s at that time. Or at least he was on his rise. Oh, what's the other big one he was in? The Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's a movie that he and her, Angelique, overlap. And that's a little movie called Repo Man. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, yes, I love Repo Man. I did not realize she was in that, though.
She plays, quote-unquote, Repo Wife number 2. So she doesn't get a real name, but, I thought that was interesting.
That is really cool.
Yeah, so, once again, if she didn't pass away due to cervical cancer, she probably would have become more famous in the sci-fi circle. Maybe even being in, like, episodes of Star Trek or, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, because she's good in this. Like she's charismatic. She's it's a B movie. Like no one's bringing their A game, but like I thought she was good in this.
Yeah, well, she definitely has at least two contributing factors for this movie.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, she like it's clear that like she's worried about her father. She's coming to check on him, hopefully to bring him back to the mainland.
Right. But she doesn't really know her dad. Like he kind of he's an absentee father who left when her and her mother when she was young.
Yeah. And then we also get another character who kind of has a similar motivation. Carlos. He is talking to the captain. He's not talking to the other visitors, but he's coming.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He's coming because his mother is on the island, and he wants to try to convince her to come back to the mainland as well.
Now, if you told me the captain is a Generation X guy, I would believe you. Like, this dude looked like he walked right out of the 90s.
Yeah, he's definitely has a much younger vibe than our previous captain. Like, at first I was like, is he, like, just a first mate or something? Like, he just seems too young. Like, he's, when you want a captain type, usually, when you're casting, you just want, like, an old, salty sea dog kind of guy.
Yeah,
but, like,
this is like the dude who smokes pot and, like, sleeps on your couch.
Yeah. The only reason you know he's the captain is just because he's wearing a captain hat,
and there's no other deckhands. Like, he's the only one.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the same thing where he's, captain's like, I don't know if you want, like, this island's pretty cursed. I don't know if you really want to spend time out here. And Carlos is like, yeah, that's the deal. Like, that's why I want to save my mom. Like, I don't want her stuck here.
We got to get her off of the island.
Yeah.
But then we cut to a very drunken man in a store, and the store owner was like, hey, man, the boat's here. Maybe you should go get on it, right? They might have a doctor that can help you out. Yeah,
we heard, we know some, like, I forget what, like, merchants or something. Like, we know that, like, your daughter's on the boat coming, so you should, like, go check in with her and see what's going on.
Right.
Oh, I did. So this is just a funny little aside, but I thought it was interesting. So, like, we always have, like, the villagers on the shore watching as the boats arrive, or the boat arrives at the beginning of these movies. But, like, this is, like, a boat that's so big that it, like, can't dock. So, like, the villagers, like, go out in, like, canoes. And at first I was like, are these, I'm not familiar. Like, there's so many names for different types of boats. And I was like, are these catamarans? And I Googled it, and they're not quite what you would call a catamaran. Yeah. But, because catamarans are usually, like, two separate kind of canoes with, like, planks across them. And these are just, like, canoes with, like, the really long oars that they're running. But catamaran is a Tagalog word. So it is from this culture. Right. And do you know what it means?
Let's hear it.
Laziness.
Interesting.
So I guess it's like, if you don't want to try to balance your canoe, you just take two canoes, you put some boards across them, and you can be lazy.
Yes, jerry rigging is like just a human thing, right?
Yeah. So I thought that was fun. I was like, I'm glad I accidentally Googled this dumb thing, because I just thought it was a fun little bit of trivia.
That made my day, like, infinitely better.
Yeah.
Just learning. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have the villagers come ashore in the canoes, and the captain introduces Dr. Foster to, like, the chief of this. I don't know if we ever get the chief's name this time around.
I feel like we do, but let me check real quick. I know his name. The actual actor, Paquito. No, Paquito Salcido does not have a name to the character's credit.
Just the chief.
Just the chief.
Basically, the captain, he comes and drops off goods or whatever, and he's like, "Here's the visitors I have," and he's like, "Is Willard still around? Because I think his daughter wanted to meet him." And Willard stumbles in, like, super drunk, collapses on the beach, and Sheila goes to check on him. Meanwhile, Carlos just kind of slips away from everybody and heads straight to, again, another, like, Spanish manor. It's probably the same one.
Right. Just shot differently, slightly. Mm-hmm. But he meets with his mom, Miss Lopez. Mrs. Lopez.
Yeah, and she seems, like, happy to see him, and he's like, I wasn't sure if you would be. She's like, of course, you're my baby. I'm glad to see you, but I don't... I don't know that you should be here long. You should definitely get on the next boat out, but I'm glad you came to visit.
They have kind of a weird mother-son relationship. Like, it's a little too close for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But-
there's like a hint of like incestiness to it. Like it never you never
Goes
see
there.
anything, but there's something. The vibes are weird for sure. Then, we have this a man come out of the house. He seems really angry. We'll learn that this is Dr. Lorca, and he's using like one of those weird short canes, kind of like Igor in Young Frankenstein uses.
Mm-hmm.
She tries to introduce. It seems like Dr. Lorca is her boss, and she's like, "Here's my son, Dr. Lorca," and he's like, "I don't have time for that. A patient escaped. We got to go find him." He's like, "It's a small island. We'll find him, but we gotta get to looking."
Right. Okay. Interesting, right? So he automatically doesn't care about this guy. He's like, yeah, I got to do my work. Once again, a very obsessed scientist type. Mm-hmm. But he says, I mislaid one of my patients.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, are you feeling... He talks to Carlos's mom. You don't look like you're feeling so good. Maybe you should go rest. Mm-hmm. And then we get an introduction to Marla, who is an old friend to Carlos. Like, when they were kids, they were growing up. And she's like, hey, I was really cool with you when you were a kid. Maybe now that you're a man, we could be a little bit more cool in different ways.
Yeah. She's very flirty right away. She's like, why don't I show you to your room, since you're going to be staying here with us for a few days? And he's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. So they head into the house, and then we cut to Foster, who is like cranking a generator while Sheila watches. And once it comes on, like lights come on in the hut and everything, and we see that Willard is like laying kind of like drunkenly half conscious on like a little cot.
Yeah. That's kind of his thing, right? Just being drunk.
Yeah. And so she goes to check on him, and he's like, so you're my daughter, right? Sheila? Is that it? He's like,
yeah. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, he's like, listen, like, I haven't seen you since you were a baby, and, so I don't recognize you. I just heard you were going to be here.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wrote you a lot of letters, but you never answered. And he's like, yeah, I mean, you can see why. Like, he's basically
Right.
like, my life is fucked. Like, why are you here? Like, I don't want you mixed up in my mess of a life. You just, like, I don't know you, but you deserve better than, a drunken
Whatever
old
this
man
is.
like me.
Yeah. And like, she's like, well, let's get some soup, let's get some food in you, and get going. And Bill Foster's like, hey, so I'm a doctor, and like, I might need your help. I don't know why he needs Willard's help.
Yeah.
Is Willard a doctor too?
It's unclear why Willard is here or what his deal is at all, really.
Yeah. But basically, Willard's like, hey, I'll do whatever you need me to if you got booze. And Bill's like, yeah, I got some booze, I'll hook you up. And of course,
Sheila is not happy about that.
He's like, Willard's like, nah, he knows how to. He's dealt with my kind before.
Yeah, like, and Foster's basically like, I know you want to get him clean, but like,
He doesn't want to be clean.
And he's like a drunk to the point that like, if cold turkey's gonna kill him, like you can't, which is true. Like, if somebody
Withdrawals is a bitch.
Yeah. So, he's like, he needs it to survive at this point. Like, maybe he can get clean eventually, but it's going to be a slow process.
Right. And Willard's like, I know this guy. He's dealt with winos, and he's a shrewd judge of character. And then he just kind of looks away. He's like, I hate him already.
Yeah.
Which means he likes him a lot because of that.
Yeah. So then we go back to elsewhere in the jungle, where Lorca and his manservant, this one, it's very similar to Goro. I don't remember if this guy gets a name either. But they're, wandering through the jungle, and they see a monster. And, again, we get the crazy zoom in and out, as the monster is on screen. And then we go right back to the house, where there's groaning outside, and Sheila wakes up and opens a door to see what's going on, and just finds a really mangled man who is also like covered in green moss.
Right. And by the way, her boobs are basically on display and just covered up by like sheer fabric.
Yeah. So, of course, she screams, seeing this man, but he, that seems to scare him, and he just kind of, takes off and stumbles back into the jungle. And, Foster hears the scream and runs to check on her, and she's like, there was a man, he's something's wrong with him, though, he needs help. So Foster, runs into the jungle to try to find him, but is unable to, and so just kind of comes back. And then I think we cut to the next day or later on or something. Foster and Sheila are supervising a bunch of villagers as they're bringing equipment into a building that has a sign out front that says municipal building.
Beautiful.
And Willard comes out and he's slightly less drunk. He's kind of mocking Foster, and he's like, good to see the town witch doctor's here.
Right.
And Foster's like, I'm just trying to help the village. I'm trying to help you. That's what I'm here for. So it's clear that John Ashley just plays nice dudes trying to help. That's
right.
His thing.
Which that's fine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. But anyway, so Willard's sees something that he likes and goes chasing after it like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and Sheila is, she's worried about him, so she tries to follow after him. And we cut away to elsewhere in the jungle. Marla gets naked and jumps in a reservoir to swim. And then we see that's where Willard is. He's made his way through the jungle and is watching her from behind a tree. Creepily licking his lips as she, swims around.
Lecherous
naked.
old man, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And somewhere in that process, Sheila has lost him. So she is kind of just now wandering around the woods trying to find him. She's carrying her high heels, classic, you end up at the point of the night, or the terrain has changed where heels are no longer an option. Yeah. And so she leans up against a tree to rest, and a snake almost drops on her, and she gets scared and screams and runs. And then we go back to the village where Foster's like, hey, where did Sheila go? She was helping me out.
The chief's just oh yeah, she just kind of went that way.
Yeah.
She followed her dad.
Yeah, and he's like, she went into the jungle alone and nobody tried to stop her? And they're like, we're not in charge of her. And he's like, okay, I guess I'm going to go try to find her in the jungle. So he heads out that way, and then we see Sheila starting to wash. She's all hot and sweaty. She washes up in the stream, and then suddenly the camera starts getting all wonky, and so it's fuck, the monster's clearly around.
Right. And then melty face.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so she screams and runs, and the monster chases after her. And then a boy from the village jumps out and tries to save her from the monster. He throws a spear at the monster, and it does not work well enough. It just gets the monster angry.
Right. And what are you going to do when somebody throws a spear at you? Of course you're going to kill him, right?
Yep. So he kills this kid, and Sheila is able to get away in the process. So we just have a little later, Foster has now organized a whole search party to try to find Sheila, but it ends up finding Willard instead. And he's like, wait, you're looking for Sheila? And they're like, yeah, you wandered off into the jungle and she's been trying to take care of you, so she went after you. And
there's so many places that I just could have lost her.
Yeah, he seems he's been kind of trying to push her away, and I think it's from coming from a good place where he's like, I'm no good. I'm gonna make her life worse. And sure enough, he's like, shit. I did what I was afraid I was gonna do. I've put her in danger now because of my own drunken stupidity. So he's kind of dealing with that guilt. But then we hear one of the search party members, yells out that he's found something, and so everybody kind of runs to where he is. And we see that he found the boy that was killed, and he's obviously mangled beyond all recognition. The gore here is even more escalated from the previous film.
Oh yeah,
you get intestines and stuff, and So then they also see that Sheila is also nearby. She's just she is alive. She's just huddled in terror.
Right, just sobbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we just cut to, like, that night. We have the visitors all sitting down for dinner with Dr. Lorca.
Of course. We got to have a good dinner scene here, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Lorca is like, hey, are you sure she just didn't, like, see it? Like, was she just imagining things and see just whatever? Willard, I love Willard. He has the best response. He's like, yeah, she just imagined the dude getting torn limb from limb and, almost getting killed herself. That's all. Completely in her own mind.
Right, yeah, and Lorca's like, no, I'm not saying that something didn't happen. I just think it might be a man, but I don't want to speculate.
A rare kind of man.
Yeah. And then we have Marla, who, like, cuts in and she's like, the doctor is not afraid of death. Death is on his payroll.
Payroll! Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Marla is a badass. That's a hell of a line delivery right there.
Yeah, and so she's just kind of like interjected this, and she's like, this whole conversation has gotten boring. I'm gonna go elsewhere. So she leaves.
Then we have some drums, and they're like, oh yeah, the drums like drive away the evil spirit.
Yeah, so maybe you want to see a local ritual since you've traveled all this way. And Carlos.
Wow, it's really weird that for like the next 5 minutes it just cuts out and you don't see anything. Skip the next 5 minutes. Straight up.
Yeah, like there's nothing. Like,
it's legitimate animal abuse.
Yes. I was like,
I thought they weren't messing with it. They at least stabbed the animals. I hope they didn't kill them, but I'm pretty sure they killed all of them.
I think so. Yeah, and it was like, at first I was like, maybe it's really good special effects, and then I was like, no. This is like, I don't know if you've seen Cannibal Holocaust. Like, a lot of times when you make movies in these other places, they have different laws and different cultures and stuff, and it's not great. Like,
yeah, I feel like if you were going to eat them, like, that's different and more like there's a more humane way to go about it other than scaring the animals and just stabbing them.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if these animals did get eaten, but it's still pretty gruesome the way that they died. Yeah. So that's so the ritual again is mostly sensual dancing like before, but yeah, it culminates in like the villagers all kind of like attacking these, I think it's like 2 or 3 animals. It's like goats and pigs.
It's 4 animals, 2 goats, 2 pigs.
Okay, yeah. But we see the villager, or like the visitors, they find the sacrifice distasteful. They're kind of grossed out by it. So
that's kind of, colonialism stuff, and they're primitive, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So they all head back to the house, and then we have again, Sheila finds when she gets there that Willard is passed out in bed holding a bottle of booze like it's a teddy bear. Okay. And then she goes to the next room and finds Foster, who has like a big radio array, and he's trying to radio back to the mainland, but can't, isn't getting any response.
Right.
And then we see outside in the jungle, that same villager from earlier is shambling his way towards Foster's hut. Foster hears him and runs out and, finds this guy, mangled, green moss growing all over him.
With a green tumor on the side of his face.
Mm-hmm. And, like, even just his skin is just, like, green. And so, like, Foster brings him in to kind of, like, try to get him safe. And then we have, like, the next morning, the chief comes to identify him and is like, oh, yes, we thought he died many years ago in a storm. We haven't seen him in a long time.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And Lorca's checking him out now. He's like, oh, yeah, all this green stuff, it's clearly chlorophyll poisoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like, I've seen this before. So he injects, this is where he injects him with a sedative. Mm-hmm. And Foster's like, you don't want to, like, do a full workup before you just start injecting him with things.
He's like, I know what this is. I've seen this.
Yeah, I know how to handle it. He's like, if he wakes up, give him some hot soup, but no green vegetables. That'll make things worse. And also
Bill's like,
Yeah, Bill's suspicious, especially because like before he injects him, the guy looks like kind of freaked out when Lorca approaches. And Foster's like, what's up with that? Like, why does he look scared of you? And he's like, he got hurt a couple years ago and I had to cauterize his wound. And he did not like that, but I saved his life. So he probably is just as afraid I'm going to hurt him again.
Right. Yeah, sure. That's why people are that terrified of you. Yeah. But as he's walking by, he's like, how do you feel, Mr. Willard? Mr. Willard's like, I've cut off, or I've quit my vegetables cold turkey.
Yeah.
Which, gosh dang, man, that's a hell of a line.
Yeah, it was a really good joke. Yeah. And then we see, like, elsewhere, Carlos's, he finds his mom, and she is, like, standing next to, like, a grave. And this is, like, a sort of a New Orleans style, like, you know, stone sarcophagus out of the ground kind of grave. And he's like, now I really don't understand why you stay. And she's like, because I need to be near him. And she's like, or, you know, maybe I just, after he died, I just feel like my life is over. I'm not going to start it over again in the real world. Like, I'm just going to live out my days here. And Carlos keeps being like, you have so much to live for. You have family, you have friends back in on the mainland. Like, you're not going to be starting over. You already have stuff there.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, that's all well and good. You're just so young and naive. Like, and I love that for you. Like, I love that life hasn't marked you yet. But I
can't go.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, I'll leave you to your mourning. And so he steps away from the graveyard and bumps again into Marla. And he's like, oh, you scared me. You're almost like a ghost. And she's like, well, I hope the kind of ghost that you're glad to see, basically.
Right. And but don't get too into me, because that could be bad for you. Good for me, but bad for you.
Yeah, this is again, like we talked last time, like the relationship dynamics are kind of weird and unique. And this is the same thing where she's just kind of like, I'm a man-eater. I would eat you alive. I would love it. But I feel like maybe you deserve better. Like, so I'm giving you a warning now. If you stick around me, I'm going to do what I do. And that's probably going to ruin your life. But, it's up to you.
By the way, what a femme fatale who's just like, I'm giving you a warning right now. I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah, and he's like, I can handle myself. And she's like, this entire conversation, you've been making eye contact with my tits, so I don't think you can handle me.
Yeah, do you remember your dad? He used to, or they start talking about Dr. Lorca, and, they start talking about Carlos's father, and she's like, yeah, your father, he liked to, wander through the woods until he really couldn't when his sickness got too much, and, then he kind of started losing it, effectively.
Yeah. Carlos is like, yeah, I don't trust Dr. Lorca. I think he's up to something. And Marla's like, he took really great care of your dad right up until the end. Like, I don't think your dad would have lived as long as he did if not for Lorca.
Now, when Carlos leaves, though, Lorca does come down and they have a discussion. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, do you love Carlos's mom?
And Lorca's like,
you feel?
Yeah, he's like, that's not really... That doesn't really factor into what I do.
If I did anything, it would be for money.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's lying here, but we'll find more about that later.
Yeah, she more like, even though she just told Carlos that Lorca kept his dad alive, she accuses Lorca of being responsible for his death. But she's like, I think you wanted his wife and you let him die. And he's like, no, I would only do that for money.
Right. And she's like, well, you took something away from me, too, with that. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, he's like, yeah, that probably disgusts you that I only care about money. You, on the other hand, became a whore for love. So they both, they have a sort of weird mutual respect, but also they kind of hate each other. Yeah. So... She I guess this is where we get some exposition that she had a relationship with Carlos's father.
We'll get that more explicitly later.
Yeah, she says, I think she says she was 14 when they started. She says
She was young.
Yeah, which again, not great. The I'm sure the cultural differences and all that, but like obviously she can't consent at 14.
But it definitely left a mark on her.
Yeah.
Also, though, maybe I don't want to say maybe he was innocent too, but there may have been extenuating circumstances as to why he was with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We will, like you said, we'll definitely get more of that here shortly.
Cut to random woman running around naked in the forest, meeting up with her boyfriend.
Yep, and they are attacked by the extreme zoom monster.
Oh God, the camera shakes are the worst.
Yeah, and the monster rips them limb from limb, and then we cut back to Foster still trying to get the radio to work.
Then we find out the radio is just fucking with the monster's head.
Yeah, they do a really good job here, where it's like he's like trying to talking to the radio, and you hear that that like almost like like the theremin-y sound that you get from radios trying to connect. And then we cut to the monster who, and that sound continues, and we see it kind of like stumbling around in agony. It does not like the sound.
Right.
And then we see a little later the villagers all find the crime scene of the monster having torn that couple apart. And Foster is there as well, and he's like, what is this? Looks like blood, but it's green. And the chief's like, oh, surely it's not blood then. Blood's not green. And he's like, no, it looks like blood. And Lorca says it's not blood, whereas the chief is, the chief's like, nah, I bet that's the blood of the evil one.
Yeah. Okay. That's weird.
Yeah. So a little later we have Carlos laying in bed, and Marla comes in and just gets undressed and gets into bed with him. And she does it very slowly, seductively, almost as if she's simultaneously giving him a chance to say no, but also giving him a good eyeful and knowing he's not going to say no. Right.
Yeah. So they have sex.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as it's over, this is Marla gets up out of bed. And Carlos
he's in love at this point. He's like, so like, when am I going to see you again? Like, when are we going to get together?
And she's like, you won't unless I need you again.
Right. Like, you are a dildo, good sir. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. So after that, Carlos decides to go for a walk to clear his head. And he goes and visits his father's grave, and then he notices something peculiar. The camera kind of zooms in on the dates, so the birth and death dates, and he goes running back to the house. So
this man finally fucking figures out that his dad, had sent him a letter 2 months after he supposedly died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he had been at this gravesite for a few times.
Yeah.
Carlos is a little slow on the uptake. I guess that's why he got used.
Yeah, so
Marlo's like, your pretty face.
So Carlos takes the letter to Foster, and Willard is there as well, and he's like, what does this mean? And Foster's like, you need to talk to your mom. She was here. Because something's not lining up here, and I want to know more too. Things are off on this island, and this might be our first clue into figuring out what exactly is going on.
Interesting. Okay. So then Carlos. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think, he tells Carlos he should talk to his mom, but then he's like, I think Carlos is like, I think she's busy doing stuff with Lorca, and he's like,
well, everyone's gone. They go back to the place, and they're like, everybody's gone. Everybody's left for the night.
Yeah. So Foster's like, well, since everybody's gone, why don't we go just dig up your dad? Then we'll know something. And Carlos is kind of like, at first he's like, yeah, and then he's like, okay, yeah, maybe this is what we need to know. So they do, and again, this is like a stone sarcophagus out of the ground, so they don't have to dig. They just have to use
they
pickaxes.
Bust into the side.
Yeah.
Then we get a snake that just crawls out of the grave because that's spooky.
Yeah, get a little snake jump scare. And we also see that the monster is watching from the trees as they do this.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but Marlowe's watching the monster watch from the trees. We've got an
Yeah.
inception of people watching things go on.
Yeah. And so they end up, they break through, and it turns out there's nothing there. Grave
Right.
is
Well,
empty.
Marla runs in and tries to stop them from opening it up, so maybe she knows. But she
Yeah.
plays it off.
Yeah, she seems shocked to find it's empty. So either she knows and she's playing it off, or she didn't want them to desecrate her love's coffin and is shocked to find out that that he's not there.
Right. And they all come to the same conclusion. Hey, your dad's still alive, Carlos.
Yeah, he is somewhere, and it's not here.
Cut back to the creature losing its shit over some radio.
Yeah,
And it just starts busting up Bill's equipment.
yeah. It seems like the radio is just running on its own, making the sounds, and yeah, so it starts smashing stuff, and then after it finishes smashing stuff, it goes into Carlos's mom's room.
Yeah, smashes her up. Not in the good way.
Yeah. So Carlos hears her screaming and comes running and finds that his mom has been mauled to death by the creature.
So he's like, I'm going to fight you, creature.
Yeah.
He doesn't win because
No.
he's just a guy.
But he is not killed. He's just kind of knocked out. And the
Why is he
monster
not
flees.
killed? Like, we see a picture of young Carlos beside Carlos, and then the creature stumbles back, and he's like, oh no, the creature's his dad.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like laughable how, like, the clue, like yeah, he somehow gets knocked unconscious right next to his a picture
Yeah.
of him as a kid.
Right. Wearing a little crown.
Yeah. So the creature runs back into the jungle.
Lorca sneaks into... Lorca does a solid snake into a hut. And, like, yeah, goes up to the green guy and cuts his head off. Well, first he stabs a guy to death. Then he
Yeah.
goes over and cuts off the green man's head.
Yeah, stabs a guard, then decapitates the green man, and then we just have like a little later Sheila finding
did
him
what
and
Gawain couldn't.
screaming.
Sorry.
Yeah. So so then we have Foster and Willard, walking through the jungle together, and they're suddenly just surrounded by villagers holding spears, and they're like, "What's up, guys? What's going on?" And they're like, "The green man was killed, and we think you all did it."
Because you guys were out here when he died, so clearly you were there to kill him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're like, come with us. You're under arrest, basically.
Right. But Bill's like, nah, I ain't gonna be got like that, buddy.
Yeah, so he just like fights off the captors. Willard kind of helps, but he's
He
drunk.
gets caught, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they like both take off running, but like Willard's not as graceful, and you don't see him get caught, but we'll see in a little bit that he definitely does not make it away.
Right. But Bill hides, but apparently not in a good enough spot because Marla's like, hey, get over here. Over here's a good place to hide. So Marla's helping Bill. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so she leads him to like a little cave near a waterfall, and
she kind of lays everything out on the table at this point.
yeah, she thanks him for her help, and she's like, but I need your help to find, I think, they just call him the Don. I think we do see his name on the gravestone, but he was like a Don,
Well, the Lord basically is what that is.
yeah.
Or
yeah.
sir.
So Foster's like, I think he's still alive, but I don't think he's still a man. And she's like, that might be true, but I think we can save him.
Yeah. We got to save him for reasons.
And Foster's like, I mean, why do you think if Lorca couldn't have saved him, why do you think I can? And she's like, I think Lorca did it. I think
Why would he
I think
save him?
yeah. Foster's like, well, then I need to know a lot more shit before I get involved in all this. Like, there's clearly a lot of weird loose ends here that I'm, been on the back foot this whole time. But I'll help you, but we got to do some detective work before we start doing like the grunt work.
Okay. Fair enough. So then we're going to cut to Lorca. He comes in and sees Carlos and, well, basically waking up, and then Carlos's mom's corpse pieces.
Yeah.
He actually looks hurt at this point. He looks pissed.
Yeah.
And he said, did you see the man who killed her?
And Carlos said, it was a monster. It wasn't a man. And Lorca says,
it was once a man.
Yeah, your father, in fact. And of course, Carlos can't accept this. He's like, no, it can't be. You're insane.
He's like, I love Lorca's like, yeah, after all this time, I think I am, actually.
Yeah, I certainly may be insane at this point, but I'm telling you the truth here.
True.
So now we get a big exposition dump. He says, so your father, he was dying of leukemia. He came here because I was
doing special research on a plant.
Yeah, I found a plant here that I believed had a rare kind of chlorophyll I know the plant was able to kill off cancerous cells, and I thought there might be a way to incorporate that into human DNA.
And it did have the ability to actually like bond with humans.
Mm-hmm. And your father, he knew he was going to die, so he was willing to take the risk of this sort of like dangerous experimental procedure. And he was like, I knew it probably wasn't going to work the first time, and I knew your father was probably going to die, but he wasn't going to live anyway, and it was worth it to me to get the knowledge. So, maybe I'm a bad person for doing that, but I really thought it was going to be, for the greater good.
So let me show you something down in my lab, which is always a good sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he gets down there, he has his servant. He's like, hey, go check on, he says the oscillator. I think he's just like, make sure the monster is not here.
Yeah.
But he's like, all right, so here's the deal. So we were giving your dad the treatment, and it was working really, really good. He literally started to like de-age. So kind of like Powers in the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was getting better. He was getting younger. And at that point, like he literally seemed like he was getting younger.
Mm-hmm.
He met a village girl and fell in love with her. That would be Marla.
Yes. So he may have been actually younger in a way that would have been less, inappropriate.
Creepy.
And I think also he also kind of was, lost control of his ability to I think he started to become a little bit monstrous.
Yeah.
So he may have been, again, werewolf kind of parallels here. Like I think he may have been not completely in control of his desires when.
Right. Well, Lorca said he actually started getting dangerous at that little bit after that point, after they started getting together.
Yeah.
So that's why I moved me and your mom away, not just so I could have a little bit of time with her, but also I kind of hid my clinic on the guy.
Yeah, and that's when we shipped you to the mainland. We wanted you to be safe. We sent you to live with family. We declared your father dead, and just trying to get your family situation in order. But yes, we know that your father's still out there, but he's no longer your father.
Right. So Marla literally had sex with her lover's son, possibly just because he looked enough like her lover.
Mm-hmm.
That's even worse, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then poor mom got murdered over it for no reason, effectively.
Right. So then we cut back to Foster, who is able to rescue Sheila from the village. So he is stayed hidden.
Oh yeah, she's basically held hostage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He knocks out several guards. They manage to get away. Meanwhile, Marla is wandering through the jungle and stumbles upon, her former lover, who's now a monster, and seems to be in agony. Like he's not in an attack mode. He's crawling around. He's holding his ears, and it's sort of it seems like the monster's just trying to get away. Don't mess with me.
Nope, she knows what's up now, and she's like, no. And he falls at her feet, and she's like, get up. oh no, she's controlling the monster.
Yeah, she's like, I knew I'd find you here. I know you're waiting for me. We've got a lot to do. So it's almost like there's some Dom energy here coming from Marla for sure. And
I mean, to be fair, she kind of said as much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they wander off into the jungle. Meanwhile, Foster has led Sheila back to the cave that Marla showed him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'm really worried about my dad. And yeah, Foster's like, I think he got captured again, but I have a plan if you trust me.
We're going to all come out all right.
Yeah, and of course she trusts him.
And what do you do when you trust somebody, Anthony? You have sex with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you and I know. No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, we get this like really extended. It's like it starts with a makeout, and Foster is fully clothed for the whole thing, and she is fully naked for the whole thing. And yeah, it's got some, like a lot of these movies have like gratuitous nudity. But there's gratuitous, and then there's like gratuitous.
Gratuitous.
And this is just like, there's just close-ups of boobs and butts. Like, it's just like...
Listen, we know Angelique, she don't care. She shows her body. It's fine.
Yeah. She's definitely not bothered by it. Like you said, I hope she was paid well for this, and, like, good for her. And so then we just have a little later, the couple, post-coitally, they're leaving the cave. They're gonna go try to rescue her dad, but then they see that the villagers are coming or searching for them, so they like duck back in the cave real quick before they're seen, and they're like, "Fuck,
right.
we gotta wait."
But it's like they find another layer to the cave.
Yeah, they're like, maybe there's a back way out, and we can like find a way to get to the village. But instead, what they find is a bunch of jail cells occupied by more villagers infected with like the chlorophyll.
Yeah, the green tumors, effectively. Mm-hmm. But they also find a moving plant, which, wait a second, is this the plant from earlier? Did they get like pieces of that?
Yeah, it almost feels like these are, like
from the other
reverse. Like I wonder if like Lorca's responsible for all the green plants. Maybe we're on the other side of the island and this is all happening simultaneously. Who knows?
All the parts of it are happening at the same time. The first part, there was a weird cat man running around, right? You just didn't know about it.
So Foster's like, all right, well, you need to get back to the village, find the chief. Like, just go back out the way we came in. And she's like, but they're looking for us. And he's like, yeah, but we have evidence now. Like, just get him here. It won't matter. Like, we just need to show them. They won't think we're guilty anymore. It'll save your dad. Plan change. This is going to be even easier. So, they.
As she leaves, he finds a friend.
Yeah,
what friend
Carlos.
does he find? Why is he in the cage?
Yeah. Foster's like, okay, I'll get you out, and so he starts working on trying to free him. But then Lorca and his manservant arrive, and Lorca's like, "Oh, good. I'm glad you finally saw this. Yeah, now I don't have to hide anything. It's all on the table. I can give you the details."
Yeah, you should really just help me with this, bud. I would really appreciate your scientific know-how.
Yeah, so Foster's like, "You killed the guy last night, didn't you?" And Foster's like, "Yeah. It's just part." Or yeah, Lorca is. It's basically omelets, eggs. Like, I had to, and I'm really trying to get mankind closer to immortality. I'm not a mad scientist. I really have the humankind's best interest at heart.
Right. So Foster's, if you don't help me, you're really going to be ruining like the world.
Yeah, and Foster's like, but these people didn't get a say in this. Like, maybe with Carlos's father, it was okay because he volunteered. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he's getting into. But now you're just continuing your work without consent, and that's not okay.
Lorca don't give no fuck. He's like, it happens.
Yeah, and Lorca's like, well, okay, I was really hoping you'd be on my side, but if not, people will be looking for you and Carlos, and I would hate for them to find you here.
Right,
so
and not dead somewhere else.
Yeah, so we're just going to have to take care of that. Foster starts trying to fight. He fights the manservant, and does manage to defeat him. Foster is pretty tough.
By the way, Foster is clearly he's clearly militarily trained. What the fuck is this guy doing? Like, Jim Farrell was like, we knew that he was in Colombia, probably working for socialists or communists, like fighting people, so he probably has military experience. But Bill Foster is just a research scientist. He should have no hand-to-hand knowledge, and yet he has all of it.
Yeah, he, like, I think this is a different actor, but he does, like...
No, it's the same actor.
No,
this is
the guy,
character.
the manservant, right? He's
Oh, no, yeah, that's a different guy altogether.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, John
Yeah.
Ashley just playing martial arts or
Right.
for the time.
Yeah,
martial
yeah.
arts.
But like this character is very similar to Goro, and like should definitely be able to win this fight, but somehow does not. And then Foster attacks Lorca as well.
Runs away.
And
hobbles away, I guess.
yeah, so once Lorca is gone, Foster's able to get the keys off the unconscious manservant and free Carlos and all of the infected prisoners.
But why is the lab catching on fire? Nobody set the lab on fire.
Yeah, usually when we have like a lab catch on fire in a fight, we really emphasize, the camera shows us that happened, but we never really see it.
Well, we do, because Marla is the one running around with a torch lighting everything on fire.
Yeah.
Lorca tries to stop her. He's like, stop burning my fucking lab.
Yeah, and he ends up like a beam falls down from the ceiling in a classic Frankenstein kind of moment, and Lorca is trapped.
And Dad shows up, basically. And she's like, kill him.
Yeah, and so now Marla, Lorca, and the monster are all trapped behind these burning beams as Foster gets all the prisoners out to safety. And as soon as they like get outside, they bump into the other villagers, that like the search party, and he's like, "Go, run!" Like the cave's about to blow. So they all kind of like, so they run a little distance and kind of duck behind like rocks and trees and stuff, and then this huge explosion erupts out of the mouth of the cave. And so it seems like, okay, I guess Lorca and Marla and the creature are no more. And we just have like
time to get on that boat.
Yeah, we get the villagers watching from the shore as Foster and Carlos and Sheila and Willard. Willard decided to go back with them. They're all on the boat, like leaving. And then while we're on the boat, the camera just kind of pans over.
Well, before that, we have a discussion between Carlos and the captain. Like, everyone has their goodbyes, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying, Carlos should be gay, but the captain seems really into him, and that seems a little bit healthier than what he and Marla had.
For real, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, now cut to the camera panning away.
Yeah, the camera pans from them to a lifeboat hanging off the side of their boat, and it's one of those, it's got like a tarp covering it, but then we see a hand reach out from under the tarp, and it's covered with chlorophyll infection. Oh no! And green blood dripping everywhere. Bah! So is it Dad? Is it Dr. Lorca? Is it Marla? Or just somebody else who just happened to get on board? Yeah, it's really unclear. It's definitely bringing this infection to the mainland, which is bad news for everybody. But oh no, yeah. Fair enough. Again, who knows what happens next? But yeah, like I assume we're going to stay on the island, so I don't know that we're going to get a satisfying conclusion to what happens when this arrives on the mainland. But most certainly not. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the end of the movie. Yeah. Okay. What do you think? So yeah, I mean, this one's super fun too. I feel like it has a little bit less to say than Brides, but it still is dealing with. I mean, it's definitely more of a mad science movie. It's definitely more in our wheelhouse in terms of like a scientist who has the world's best interests at heart and will stop at nothing to achieve his scientific goals, even if it creates a monster. So all of that feels very Frankenstein-y. And I do feel like the a lot of the relationships in this were interesting. Like I like Marla a lot. She's a really interesting. I mean, I don't. She's bad. I don't like her, but like she's got agency. Yeah, she's an interesting character that you've not seen before, and I appreciate that. And then beyond that, I like this. Her finding her, monstrous. There's like a Beauty and the Beast thing here almost. But who's the Beauty and who's the Beast? Yeah. So yeah, I think this movie's super fun. Like I really like where this series is going. Like I think again, this is a match made in heaven between the American producers kind of like pushing them to like, push the envelope further, and them being like, all right, you want it, we'll give it to you, and them just really leaning into the drive-in stuff while also, kind of telling interesting stories.
Yeah,
you know,
all right.
like again, as we talked about with Terror is a Man, that being like the beginning of this, you know, burgeoning like film industry on this island, where they were just like, we want to make movies, but we don't have a story, so I guess we'll just kind of bootleg remake Island of Dr. Moreau. But now they're like, well, now that we got things moving, we have time and we can make our own stories. And like, you know, they're not going to win Oscars. They're not brilliant stories, but they're fun stories and they're interesting stories. So like, they kind of took this jump start with Terror is a Man and really ran with it. And I there's nothing I love more than, like, you know, filmmakers just doing things on shoestring budgets to as best they can and like hitting gold, you know, like whether monetarily or just in terms of like, you know, storytelling success. So yeah, this series has been really, really fun so far.
Absolutely. It's been great. All right. Well, I mean, anything else we can say about it?
I think that's it for now.
All right. Anthony, where can they find us?
Yeah, so you can find us on all the socials at The Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. We're also over on YouTube. And of course, you can always find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where we've got tons and tons of bonus material. So we'd love to have you over there. We love the monetary support. We love the support in any way, you know, you're able. And there's definitely like free trials and stuff. We'd love for you to just like drop in and hear what you can, even if you can't afford to support us that way. There's a lot of fun stuff over there, and we'd love to have you all check it out.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to keep this blood train rolling next week with The Beast of Blood.
Yes. So definitely looking forward to that. This is the last of the official Blood Island trilogy. Maybe not the last one we're going to be talking about, but
the official.
Yes. So and not seen this one yet again. So definitely looking forward to seeing what the Beast of Blood is.
Yep. Let's see if there are any more breasts in it. There probably will be.
Almost certainly.
Yep. All right. Well, nothing else to say then. To be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.